youngsters, also somebody that knows a lot about the All-Star game because he played 19 times in his 21 Major League Baseball seasons, two-time MVP, also Hall of Famer. Cal Ripken Jr. joined us here on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline for his Fresh Take. And, Cal, you're a Hall of Famer. Are you still involved with the Orioles in any kind of way?
Well, I'm friendly with them.
You're friendly with them?
Yeah, no real capacity. I'm a minor league owner for one of their franchises, so we have a professional relationship. But other than that, it's just informal.
Well, clear something up for us because we've been having a debate about this Reggie Jackson situation. You've heard about the news with him making comments about Alex Rodriguez and the Yankees basically trying to tell him to stay away. If you were to make similar comments about the Baltimore Orioles and you were an advisor, what would you expect to happen to you?
I'm still trying to figure out what Reggie said. I know he made some comments about the steroid guys. Or anybody
I can relay it to you. His exact quote to Sports Illustrated was, Al's a very good friend, but I think there are real questions about his numbers. As much as I like him, what he admitted about his usage does cloud some of his records, end quote. And he also talked about the fact that he didn't think guys like Gary Carter, for example, and Jim Rice should be Hall of Famers. So according to Buster Olney, our Major League Baseball insider and obviously very connected with the Yankees, all those things kind of contributed to the Yankees putting Reggie Jackson on timeout.
Yeah, I wish that I would have known all this stuff because I ran into Reggie the other day. I would have probed him a little bit. We all know that Reggie's an outspoken guy, and he's always been an outspoken guy. I haven't seen of what he said, so it's difficult for me to comment on it. But I've always been someone to really think of the ramifications of what you say and how it's going to affect anybody else. So I'd be a little bit more cautious. But that's me. Reggie's Reggie.
And just to stay on that word ramifications, and look, I acknowledge that I may not be looking at the bigger picture in terms of the Yankees protecting their brand and protecting their player in Alex Rodriguez. My point, Cal, is that just as Reggie and others have to think of the ramifications of what they say, people expressing this kind of opinion is part of the ramifications of using performance-enhancing drugs. So Alex Rodriguez did something that we all believe is cheating the game. So this is the price you pay. Maybe Reggie Jackson shouldn't be the guy to say it. I acknowledge that, especially as an employee of the Yankees. But to me, the spotlight should not be on Reggie Jackson as much as it should be on the guy who actually used performance-enhancing drugs.
Yeah, I would imagine facts are the facts, or choices are choices, and there are ramifications for those choices. And we live in a free country where people can say and judge and act. I have a difficult time judging because you never know the full context of anyone's choices, and I have a personal feeling. But I see your point that if you're going to make that sort of choice, it's out there, and you'll get attention from time to time for it.
Talking to Baseball Hall of Famer Cal Ripken Jr. on the Subway Fresh Take Hotline. Mike Hill, Michael Smith filling in for Greeny and Golick on Mike and Mike in the Morning on ESPN Radio. You gave us one of the best All-Star memories of all time. Your final All-Star game, home run, I mean, it was just magical that night. Will that always be your best memory of all the All-Star games you ever played in?
Well, I mean, the 91 All-Star game was pretty magical. I was hitting, I think, close to 350, which I was in nosebleed section for myself. I'd never been that high before going to the All-Star game. I ended up winning the MVP that particular year. And the All-Star game, I won the Home Run Derby, which, I was someone that wasn't favored to do that. And then I hit a 3-run homer in the game and got another hit, so that game was pretty special. But 2001, and we were talking about A-Rod just a minute ago, ran into Joe Torre, and I sat with him with the commissioner the other night at dinner, and Joe was reminiscing when A-Rod came up with the idea to push me back over to third base, from third base to shortstop. You know what I mean.
Gotcha.
And I went over there, and there was trepidation, but I tell you what, thinking back on it, it was a wonderful gesture to say, you were important for giving us the opportunity. Your success gave us the opportunity to play shortstop as a bigger guy. And I felt really good about that, and then went up there the first at bat and was able to hit a home run. And really, I don't think I was probably deserving to start in that All-Star game or even be there. I think it was my last year. I won the popular vote. And I really wanted to do something significant, not necessarily hit a home run, but play well. And so that's a really strong memory. It was a great send-off, and it was a great way to say goodbye.
I'm glad you touched on that, and talk about coming full circle with A-Rod, and that was a very, very wonderful thing. Remember, he gave us all by allowing you to go to shortstop the way that he did. But the idea of fans selecting starters is something that's never sat well with me, especially given the fairly recent decision to make the game count and decide home field advantage. So my question to you is, given that the game does decide home field advantage and the numbers back up how important home field advantage is, should fans still be voting in starters, and should every team be represented? Because it seems to make the composition of the roster very challenging for the managers.
Well, yeah, it seems to be a little conflict in philosophy or ideology. If the game's going to be important and you're going to play it to win, maybe the selection process should be changed. But I personally love the fact that's involved in choosing the All-Star game starters. And I personally like the fact that each team is represented. So maybe I still have sort of an exhibition mentality to the game, but I used to love seeing a representative from each team. If you were a baseball fan and we all gathered around the TV in the middle of the summer to watch the All-Star game, you could relate to one of those players out there. And I think the fans, by and large, do an excellent job of picking. And maybe when you're thinking about the All-Star game, don't think about it necessarily about the first half performance. Somebody like Chipper Jones is a perennial All-Star. Mm-hmm. And the popular vote sometimes can say, I recognize you as an All-Star, even though you might not have had your best first half. Your career shows that you are, and I want you in the lineup. So I guess I have a conflict in my own mind. I still don't believe that this game should decide home field advantage.
Nope.
And so I don't like that necessarily. And I asked the commissioner, we had him on our radio show, my brother Billy and I, yesterday, and we grilled him pretty good. I said, okay, is this in to stay? And he said, yep, it's in to stay.